Now we're going to continue with the 650 Bible prayers. We're going to do prayer number 34, which is going to be chapter 21 of Numbers, which is a prayer for the relief from death. So in chapter 21, this is after the death of Aaron, and the king of Arad decided to capture some of the Israelites. And of course, that was a big mistake because God hears the cries of his people. So the people pleaded to God to grant them victory against King Arad, and God responded. And then, of course, things took a surprising turn for the worse. So we're going to start with where the Canaanite king was defeated, which is King Arad. And that is in Numbers chapter 21, verse 1. When the Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, heard that Israel was coming on the Atharim road, he fought against Israel and captured some prisoners. Then Israel made a vow to the Lord: if you will hand this people over to us, we will completely destroy their cities. The Lord listened to Israel's request and handed the Canaanites over to them, and Israel completely destroyed them and their cities. So they named the place Hormath meaning destruction. Then we go on to verse 4, and in verse 4 we see we're going to discuss the bronze snake. So then they set out from Mount Hor by way of the Red Sea to bypass the land of Edom. But the people became impatient because of the journey. The people spoke against God and Moses. Why have you led us up from Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread or water, and we detest this wretched food. Then the Lord sent poisonous snakes, which is like a burning. So the Lord sent poisonous snakes among the people, and they bit them so that many Israelites died. The people then came to Moses and said, we have sinned by speaking against the Lord and against you. Intercede with the Lord so that he will take the snakes away from us. And Moses interceded for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, make a snake image and mount it on a pole. When anyone who is bitten looks at it, he will recover. So Moses made, mounted on a pole, a snake mount. That's the symbol that we always see whenever they show pharmakia, medicine, or anything. The snake, the image of a snake mounted on a pole. Just interesting. And that poisonous snake killed the Israelites. When the Israelites looked at the bronze snake on the pole, they recovered from their snake bite. Okay, let's skip down to verse 10, where we're going to talk about the journey of Moab. So the Israelites set out and camped at Oboth. They set out from Oboth and camped at Abram in the wilderness that borders Moab on the east. From there, they went and camped at Zered Valley. They set out from there and camped on the other side of the Aran River in the wilderness that extends from the Amorite border because of Arnon. Because the Arnon was the Moabite border between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore, it is stated in the book of the Lord's wars. And then you continue down. So let's go on to verse 16. From there, they went to Beer, the well the Lord told Moses about. Gather the people so I may give them water. Then Israel sang this song: spring up well, sing to it. The princes dug the well, the nobles of the people hollowed it out, and the scepter and with the staffs. So this is a song for water, God-given water. They went from the wilderness of Mathanath, from Mathanath to Nehanel, from Nehanel to Bamoth, from Bamoth to the valley of the territory of Moab, near the Pisgah highlands that overlook the wasteland. Then you go on to talk about the Ammonite king being defeated, and that's referring to King Sheol of the Ammonites. So in verses 21 to 26, we see that just as the just we see that just as they had traveled down with the Edomites, the Israelites requested permission to pass through the territory of another tribe, that which is the Amorites, but they resisted, and they probably resisted because they had somehow known that Israel had responded to with aggression to the Edomites. And by skirting their territory. So this time, because God had not prohibited them from fighting the Amorites, Israel won a crushing victory, and the land of the Amorites came under their control. So we see that quite clearly when you read through verses 27 to 30, that which is just basically a poem that celebrates the Amorites' early victory over the Moabites. Moses sent spies to a city, and the city being Jazer, before driving out the enemy and possessing the land. And here the Israelites also possessed Bashan, which is a city as God had told them, and they did so with no fear. So essentially, Israel's victory over Og and his armies gave them possession of the entire Transjordan, from Moab in the south to Mount Hermon in the north. And this is the strategy of entering Canaan from the east rather than the south that worked perfectly. It's interesting when you go back to verses 4 to 9, the Israelites being required to look at the bronze snake in order to find healing. I guess this is a talk about Jesus, because Jesus' death on the cross could also be a symbolic of this bronze snake, like a foreshadowing of his crucifixion.